craziness that happened over the weekend. Something wild and crazy happened at the Libertarian convention over the weekend. Not something I usually pay attention to. This year was a little bit different, though, because for whatever reason, the Libertarian Party invited Donald Trump to speak. And I don't think it really went the way that Trump thought it was going to go. They also, of course, invited RFK Jr. Now, obviously, you know, RFK Jr. was seeking the nomination of the Libertarian Party. We'll get to that in just a second. But Trump showed up there and Trump was booed. I don't know what he was expecting. Let's get into it.
Thank you. And if you vote for me on day one, I will commute the sentence of Ross Ulbricht to a sentence of time served.
Well, that was one thing that a lot of libertarians at the convention apparently did like, the statement that he made there about Ross Ulbricht. Apparently, if I remember correctly, Ross, I think he ran like this black web site or something like that. So they were really excited to hear about that. You can see the signs there that say "Free Ross."
He's already served 11 years. We're going to get him home. We're going to get him home. That is why I'm committing to you tonight that I will put a libertarian in my cabinet and also libertarians in senior posts. Combined with us in a partnership, we're asking that of the libertarians. We must work together. Combine with us. You have to combine with us. We cannot give crooked Joe Biden 4 more years. We cannot give crooked Joe Biden 4 more years.
Thanks for watching.
So that's where the boos came in there towards the end when he was asking the Libertarian Party to combine with his campaign. Now, obviously, that kind of defeats the purpose of a third party. Like if the Libertarians wanted to do that, they would have probably done that a long time ago. This isn't the first time that Donald Trump is running for office. So they did not seem to like that too well. So it's really interesting that Donald Trump shows up to the Libertarian convention and basically tells them, you need to come join my campaign so we can really, you know, defeat Joe Biden so he cannot become reelected. It's really bizarre. And like, they're a third party. They do not want to be a part of the Republican Party. So why would you even come there and do that? And then they booed. And what you didn't see here, another piece that was mentioned as well, was that I guess after the booing, he made a joke towards them saying, you'll continue just to get 3%. He did like a little dig towards the Libertarian Party, like, well, you either combine with me if you're serious and you want some type of traction, or you'll just continue to get like your 3%. So it was really interesting. I don't know what he was expecting to come from this, but obviously, you know, it seemed like there were some supporters there that actually would consider some type of collaboration with Donald Trump, but then there were other supporters where they're like, no, we don't feel this is cool. They really, it seems like the Libertarian Party, ever since RFK Jr. said he was interested in seeking some type of nomination with them, it seems like the Libertarian Party is now split, whereas some of the party members do want RFK Jr. to run with them, and some of the party members do not, because they feel as though RFK Jr. doesn't represent a lot of the libertarian values. And it's not just about the war piece, right? It's not just because of the statements that he said, like give Israel everything that they need, etc., in reference to Israel and Gaza and how he unequivocally supports Israel. It's not just that. It's also about some of the policies that he has towards gun rights. They're also not incredibly crazy about RFK Jr.'s passion for the environment either. So there's a number of things where people just feel like, nah, bro, like you're not rocking with us. Now, that being said, what was also interesting, Dave Smith, who is probably one of the most popular members of the Libertarian Party. He was on Breaking Points. I believe this was earlier this morning. And he talked about why Trump was booed. And of course, what did Donald Trump expect to happen at a third party convention when you tell them to basically join along and coalesce with you and be a part of the duopoly? Listen to this.
Well, I mean, the Libertarian Party it's a third party, and I don't know as much about, say, like the Green Party, but I'd imagine it's a similar type of dynamic where, I mean, these are people, they're a member of a third party in a country that is rigged for two parties. And the reason they're there is because they are so disgusted with the establishment of both political parties. And so to have an actual president who's got a 4-year track record and many things that us libertarians are very unhappy about, this was just destined to go this way. I'm not sure if he knew what he was walking into. I think he might have been like, oh, libertarians are kind of like Republicans, and maybe they'll like some things about me. And but Bobby Kennedy and Vivek Ramaswamy both spoke the previous day, and they drew some boos, but they also got some cheers. But Donald Trump before he said a word, the place had it with him.
So that part was kind of funny that he said that. Actually, you guys, if you follow Pasta on Twitter, co-host of Convo Couch, but Pasta also has another channel called Pasta to Go. He was at the Libertarian Convention. So if you follow him on Twitter, he covered a lot of this. I know I saw an interview that he had with Thomas Massey, which is Thomas Massey. He's another little, we ain't gonna get into all that. But follow Pasta and you'll see more information about this. Vivek Ramaswamy was there. Some people are saying, they're like, why are Republicans trying to bleed into the Libertarian Party, which is a third party? Like, they're a third party for a reason, right? So some people saw that and they said, why is Vivek there? Why is Trump there? And I wonder if Trump was invited because, remember, RFK Jr. said he did want to debate Donald Trump. Remember that? And Trump accepted that. From last I remember, he accepted it. Joe Biden obviously was not there, but I think he may have been invited as well. I don't know. But yeah, mixed results.
What do you think was his goal in going? And do you think he accomplished whatever that goal was? By the way, I've never loved libertarians more than this moment. And you're right with the Green Party comparison, because if Joe Biden went and spoke at a Green Party convention, I don't think it would go very well at this point.
Well, it's also like I think people don't understand, and it's the reason why I used the Green Party comparison, because I think that there might be some people who have the perception that say, like, well, the Green Party are a clique left of the Democrats, or the differences are that whatever, like the Democrats wanted Obamacare, but they want nationalized health care. But that's not really the dynamic, or that is, but there's much more than that. The people in the Green Party look at Barack Obama as a war criminal who should be put in prison. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just, oh, I'm a clique to the left of you or something like that. And that's the same dynamic with libertarians. We look at Donald Trump as the guy who for 4 straight years backed the Saudis in their genocidal war against the people in Yemen. It's not like, oh, I wish he had lowered taxes a bit more than he did. There's much more fundamental issues.
And I will also add, too, because I've heard people make these same type of statements that Dave Smith is saying. It's also true, too, that when you invite those types of politicians into the third party space, it's not as though they are going to move to your position. You're going to have to move to their position, which is exactly what Donald Trump wanted them to do. He said, join me. It's not like he's saying, I'll join you. He said, join me, right? Same thing for the Green Party, as Dave was saying. If a Democrat were to come to the Green Party, like if Joe Biden were to come to a Green Party invitation or whatever, it's not like Joe Biden would move to the left and go along with the Green Party's policies. If anything, Joe Biden would be there to try to recruit them to go along with him. So we always have to remember who's in power and who has the upper hand when we talk about building some type of coalitions.
And, to your question, I think you guys have covered it on your show quite a bit. I think they're really concerned about Bobby Kennedy, and they realize that the margins might be much thinner than they think. And the Libertarians are a party who have gotten millions of votes for the last two cycles. I don't think they're going to this cycle, but they have in the last two cycles, and I guess they made the calculation that was worth making an attempt to get those votes.
I think it was.
Yeah, so that was interesting there. And then I mentioned, I know someone said this in the comment as well, they did invite Joe Biden. So it's really interesting. I will say, you know, the Libertarian Party has made a lot of news this year, particularly when it comes to RFK Jr. Now, this actually happened at the event, the convention here as well, where they were announcing or extending nominations to different candidates. And this is the piece here where the Libertarian Party chair is actually asking, do we agree to extend a nomination to RFK Jr.? Now, I just want to say something really quick here because things did get confusing the other day. This video was going around on Twitter, and I think a lot of people saw that and they assumed that RFK Jr. was the nominee. So just to clear things up, they were extending a nomination to RFK Jr., but RFK Jr. was not the nominee for the Libertarian Party. So they were not saying, RFK Jr., you are the nominee for the party. They were just extending him a nomination, just like they have with other candidates as well in the past. But listen to this here.
And he is a member of the Libertarian Party.
He is, Madam Chair, as the Credentials Committee Chair, I can confirm that he is a basic sustaining member.
He is a basic sustaining member. And it's my understanding that he did turn in nomination papers that had the required amount of signatures on them. Does he accept the nomination?
We have confirmation that he does.
Do you want me to call him and ask him if he accepts the nomination?
Yes!
Can we please move on to others while this is going on? This is a wait.
You can call me.
So do you see what's happening? So this happened on the spot. So she's calling RFK Jr. to ask him if he is willing to accept the nomination. And that's what I'm saying. I think some people saw this video and they said, oh my God, RFK Jr. just accepted the nomination. He's the nominee for the Libertarian Party. And that was not the case. So he was not the nominee for the Libertarian Party. But this video went viral, and as well as his acceptance also goes viral. And I think it really had people in a tizzy over the weekend. And people were like, what the hell is going on? But we'll get to who the actual nominee or for the Libertarian Party is. And it's not who you think it is.
Madam
Okay,
Chair,
I'm going
Mike
to do
2.
it myself right now if you want.
Madam Chair, Mike 2.
Point of order, Madam.
Well, let's get there first and see if he picks up. Ringing. Good morning. I'm at the podium, and I need to ask you if you accept your nomination. I'm not on the microphone, but I'm at the podium.
Can the chair pass the gavel and we can move on to other nominations while this call is happening?
Yes.
So this was another thing too that some people did say. They were just like, why are we giving all this preference and consideration towards RFK Jr. and there are other potential candidates that people are interested in as well, right? So there did seem to be some type of favoritism towards RFK Jr.
Hector, you're expecting a line. With all due respect, it's my turn. That's why I asked her. So I was just going to tell her that she didn't. I mean, just get him to call her right now. Yeah. She's on the phone with him.
He's going to get back to us.
Madam Chair,
Madam Chair,
Mike 2.
Yeah, so that happened there. And then well, he did actually get back to them. So he was obviously not at the event, but he did send a video response. So check this out.
I'm sending in this video from California this morning to let you know that I accept this unexpected honor. I've always admired the Libertarian Party. I have a deep alignment with the core values, the antipathy toward war, the commitment to end our addiction to forever wars, and the love of personal freedoms and liberties, the understanding that the only way that we are going to fulfill the destinies that God created us to fulfill is by exercising freedom of choice, and that the
Let me pause for just a second, okay? Because one of the things about this video, he said that he always, I guess, had like deep respect or admired the Libertarian Party. But if that's the case, why were you running as a Democrat? Why didn't you run through the Libertarian Party like right off the jump? Like, why were you, you know what I mean? And then left the Democratic Party, decided to run as an independent, and then was like, okay, want to seek the nomination of the Libertarian Party. Like, if the only reason you're wanting to do that is so that you can get ballot access on all 50 states, which the Libertarian Party has, right? Then that's not cool because you're taking advantage of the party. And that was the impression I got from the start when RFK said he was interested in doing that he was taking advantage of the Libertarian Party. Like, do you agree with the principles? Yes or no? And there's a number of principles where he does not align with the Libertarian Party.
Choice, and that the United States Constitution is the global template for outlining those freedoms, and that those freedoms are sacrosanct. The Constitution was written for hard times, and that there are no exceptions. I'm going to protect these rights. I'm going to protect your rights. I'm going to protect the United States Constitution. And I'm going to end the foreign wars. And I'm very, very grateful to the Libertarian Party for this great honor. And I look forward to an alliance across the country, a fusion alliance of all of these independent parties who are now challenging the Republican Democrat corrupt duopoly.
Okay, so that was RFK Jr. accepting the nomination from the Libertarian Party. Now, again, as I said, some people saw that and they said, oh my God, he's the official nominee for the Libertarian Party. This isn't fair, yada, yada. But he was not the actual nominee of the Libertarian Party. So even though those videos went viral and caused quite a stir amongst a lot of people, he was not the nominee. The nominee for the Libertarian Party after they voted was Chase Oliver. Now, Chase Oliver ran for Senate in Georgia. I think you guys remember we covered this before. He ran for Senate in Georgia as a Libertarian candidate. He actually did receive a lot of votes for a third party candidate, but obviously, did not win in that race. But this is someone who is a part of the Libertarian Party. Now, some people are pushing back and they're like, why did they choose this guy? I'm not 100% sure. Maybe I'll try to interview. We'll see if we can bring Larry back on the show, Larry Sharp, and other libertarians back on the show to ask them why they went with that decision. There are some people that are not too happy about that. And some people are saying, why didn't they go with someone with a more popular name like RFK Jr.? Because that would obviously they have a better chance of actually getting higher than the 3% if they went with RFK Jr. But that's not what the people wanted. That's not how they voted, right? Again and again, RFK Jr.'s policy with Israel, like his opinion on Israel and give them everything that they want and with these wars and stuff, that does not align with the Libertarian Party. But Chase Oliver, so who is he?
Well, the Libertarian Party is putting political activist Chase Oliver on the ticket for November after they rejected Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and President Trump. The former president was booed on stage at the party's convention on Saturday before mocking its electoral record. Well, the Libertarian Party chair ruling Mr. Trump couldn't be nominated because he never submitted the proper paperwork. Well, the former president's appearance coming a day before independent candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was unexpectedly nominated after his campaign said he wouldn't be running as a Libertarian.
So I wouldn't say he was unexpectedly nominated. He had talked about this in multiple interviews that he was interested in actually seeking the nomination of the Libertarian Party. So I don't think this was unexpected at all.
RFK was eliminated in the first round of voting. Well, News Nation's Tom.
Okay, so he was eliminated in the first round. And I want to show you something else about Chase Oliver. Part of the reason why some people have pause against Chase is they are actually saying, oh, it's this political activist guy that they chose to run, which he is an activist. We talked about him before during that third party debate, which, by the way, RFK Jr. rejected to attend. See, a lot of people remember things. When there was the third party debate, Jill Stein, Claudia De La Cruz, Chase Oliver, Lars Mapstead, Jasmine Sullivan, they were all present to debate. Everybody was invited. Dr. Cornel West did not attend and RFK Jr. did not attend. Chase was there. So people remember these things, you know? So when RFK Jr.'s team feels like these things are not important for him to actually participate in, people remember these things when you're trying to seek out their nomination from their party. Here is a clip here of Chase Oliver actually speaking about the police. He was one of the activists that was a part of the Black Lives Matter movement. Listen to this.
So I'm here to talk about not just the injustice that Cop City brings, but what militarization of police brings to us. I was in the streets in summer of 2020 when we were peacefully protesting the murder of George Floyd, the murder of Breonna Taylor and others. And it was the Atlanta police who decided to bring the tanks rolling down the street and who decided to call in the National Guard. It was y'all who corralled us. It was y'all who were pepper spraying and tear gassing us. It was the police who were pulling people out of their cars and arresting them for no reason other than the fact they were lost on the night of the protest. And so what does the police get in reward for that? $67 million of taxpayer money to fund your facility? That's ridiculous. I don't think it's right to be giving you $1 until you restore trust with the people. And the way you do that is pretty simple. You do that by by ending qualified immunity for the Atlanta City Police so that we can get our day in court when we're done wrong. You do that by requiring your officers to hold liability insurance. So when they do wrong, it doesn't come out of the taxpayer's pocket from other services. It comes out of the pockets of the police officers who have to pay for those insurance policies. If you want to hold police accountable, there's a lot of ways to do it. But clear-cutting forests so that you can build this facility is a spit in the face of the people who have been out here speaking against it for months and months on end. Take a poll, read the room, listen to the people, and you will see that they don't want this.
Okay, so one thing I will say about Chase Oliver, he is good on policing. When it comes to the police, he has been really good on that issue, and he's part of the activism. He has spoken out against Cop City, but not just speaking out against these things, he actually is an activist. So he has been a part of some of those protests where the police have responded violently to peaceful protesters. And that's another thing I was going to add about the Libertarian Party. When it comes to policing, they have very different views about policing than the Republican Party. So that's another thing why it was weird to me that Trump would say, you need to come and coalesce with me. Because again, they don't share the same views about policing that the Republican Party does or the Democratic Party does, to be honest with you. So Chase Oliver is the official Libertarian Party candidate for president for 2024. Should be interesting, folks. It is going to be an interesting year.